All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome again to How ARID is Changing Asset Management webinar. My name is Josh. I am the event coordinator here at Microdesk. Before we get started, I just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel, not in the chat panel. Also, a recorded version of this webinar will be available on our website and YouTube channel within a couple of days. You'll receive an email when that link is available. And I just want to introduce Microdesk to you all before we jump in. So Microdesk was founded in 1994 as an Autodesk reseller with a simple mission to assist architecture, engineering, construction, owners, and GIS firms with improving workflows and integrating project delivery technologies. 25 years later, that mission still holds true. Microdesk is a well-established AECO consulting firm with 13 offices in the US and UK. We have over 230 AECO consultants, solution specialists, and software developers that can help in all sectors, all disciplines, and all stages. Some of the hottest topics in the AECO world are globalization, urbanization, and sustainability. Urbanization studies suggest that the U.S. will build 114 cities the size of Boston in the next 30 years. Here at Microdesk, we can help to make sure you're prepared to meet those demands. We use software from industry leaders and combine it with our vision and passion for sustainability to meet the demands of urbanization. Our team of industry expert consultants are redefining project delivery and asset management. We're committed to helping clients realize the business benefits of BIM quickly and economically by facilitating the use of innovative technologies and processes. We partner with world leaders such as Autodesk and IBM to utilize innovative technologies and methodologies to empower sustainable design and overcome local challenges. Our vision is to reduce the environmental impact of urbanization by helping the AECO industry to design, construct, and operate better projects more efficiently by leveraging the full potential of BIM, VDC, and asset management. Whether it's streamlining your design, construction, or operations, our consulting team is the nation's largest and most experienced group of AECO technology consulting professionals. Microdesk's clients represent some of the nation's most respected organizations and public agencies, including the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Denver Airport, and Columbia University, amongst others. To help support the industry with the demands of urbanization, we provide full-service consulting. This includes building information modeling services, enterprise strategy and workflow assessments, technology management, mentoring and support, and much, much more. Now, Jeff Chen will jump on to take you through today's webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the webinar. So I want to do a very quick introduction for myself at first. So I used to be a structural engineer and got my master's degree from civil engineering at Syracuse University, upstate New York. And after that, I slightly shifted my focus on the green building design, sustainability, and then completely shifted to asset management, infrastructure management, and lifecycle analysis, something related. And I got my PhD focusing on lifecycle infrastructure management from Syracuse University too. Happy 7 years over there in total and enjoy the snow very much. And after that, I started to do BIM management for several projects and programs and got a chance to think about the integration of design and operation stage. And eventually, I joined Microdesk Asset Management Division to push the lifecycle BIM implementation forward in terms of design to operation and maintenance. So here's the agenda for today's webinar. I'm going to follow this flow, starting from what is ARID and why we need ARID. So basically talking about the current issues our industry are facing right now and what ARID can do, and followed by how ARID can change asset management or whom ARID can really benefit. And eventually I'm giving one or two case studies to showcase that ARID can ARID already helped some of our clients to meet their goals. So first, what is ARID? ARID is the abbreviation for Asset Registry Information Database. So in front of all, it is a data repository for asset data dictionary, which covers a lot of things, including your hierarchy, your system, your subsystem, your asset, your child asset, components, spare parts, attributes, and even your data types, your domain values, the unit of measures, your PCRs, your maintenance plans, your affiliations, and many, many more. So we designed ARID to eliminate the use of Excel or other similar workflows. From the other hand, since ARID is a cloud-based solution, it can do a set of mathematical analysis which examines your entire data dictionary and enhance your data quality. I'm going to show you this functionality in the following slides. Meanwhile, ARID can bridge the gaps between delivery and operational stages by streamlining the data flow across the entire project lifecycle. So on the right hand, we have like a 4 major area of the services that ARID can provide. So as I mentioned before, it's a master cloud-based asset registry, can host all of your data dictionary, and it can do data refinement or data enhancement. So you have some data inconsistencies, your typos, or your meaningful ambiguity. All of these things can be captured by ARID. And also ARID can give you AI-powered assistant, or we call that smart recommendation. I'm going to show you how powerful this function is in a later slide. And eventually, we can utilize the data to do a lot of data process to other upstream or downstream software. And also, we can connect our data to any data analytics and the reporting tools, like a Power BI or Tabular. Okay, so why we need ARID? As Microdesk, we are working with different clients from both sides of the project. From design, construction, and operation and maintenance. So we have the chance to understand that what should be improved from both ends. Data dictionary is one of the most critical data foundation that your entire asset management program will be built on eventually. So some of our clients, they already have CMMS implemented, and their data dictionary lives in the CMMS. They kind of update their data dictionary from time to time, and we have this round of implementation, and in the next 5 months, we are going to do a new round of uploading and adding new classifications, change some attributes, and so on. But it's hard for them to holistically review their data if there is any inconsistency happens. And I will highlight this issue in the next few slides. For other clients, and it is very common that their data dictionary lives in Excel, like hundreds of Excel spreadsheets. So there is no way to just eyeball all these Excel sheets with complicated formatting to capture data inconsistency or even mistakes. So I don't even want to go deep into the topic of like how you do the version control or the file sharing, because we all using Excel every day, and we know how terrible it would be when we try to figure out the latest version out of 10 candidates. So all of these things is why we need ARID. And here is what ARID can do. So from a highest level, from a bigger picture, ARID can capture information from all the clients that we're helping with, and to aggregate their wisdom together and put that into cloud and benefit each other. For your local client perspective, it can first purify, or we call that data refinement, semantical analysis, and learn your data and learn the cloud surround you and give you recommendation. Also, it can make your data exchange more efficient to encourage teamwork, because now everybody has the same source of data. They don't go to different version of Excel. They all goes to ARID database. And we can also create relationships, try to figure out if your relationship is clean enough, and we can track performance. We can standardize your attributes, and so many kind of these things. I'm going to show you in detail in the following slides. So here is a very typical example of a data inconsistencies that many of our clients are facing right now. So the bigger the facility is, this kind of things will happen more. So, for example, so think about you have a huge facility and you want to divide your system into chill water system, hot water system, maybe treatment the water system, or the gray water system, and each of the system may require a pump. So here is 3 centrifugal pumps that lives in 3 different subsystems for one client. So we can tell that for the first one, there's a typo in the centrifugal. They're missing a U there, and they're all different names. The first one is called centrifugal pump, second one called pump centrifugal, and the third one is centrifugal pumps. So actually, this 3 classifications supposed to only means one thing, that is a centrifugal pump. And if you have these 3 different kind of classification lives in your systems, for example, you're using Maximal, and when you do the data query or the data analytics, try to query through your Maximal database, and you're going to suffer because you don't know which one hosts what. And also, different classification here hosts different set of attributes. The first one has manufacturer. The second one call it maker, but we all know manufacturer is maker. But because different facilities, they handle data differently in silo, so you cannot make sure they speak in the same language. And for the third one, there's a typo there, manufacturer. And also you can tell the series number. This attribute has been missed in the second facility. Maybe they don't think this is important. Maybe they don't even know this is important. And on the third one, it's called serial number. It's not a symbol, but a word. And it's called month and month and month. So all kind of these things give us a lot of trouble. After we implemented these things into our Maximal or SAP, and we try to dig out the data, do the drill down, the more this kind of mistake happen, the more suffering you will have in the future. And especially you're going to use this thing day by day. So the first thing that ARID can do, and that's kind of one of the most critical functionality of ARID, is it can read your entire data dictionary, upload it into ARID, and give you a recommendations or perform the semantic analysis. So there are 4 to 5 different algorithms behind ARID to try to help you to figure out, okay, so maybe you want to have month and month means the same thing. So ARID in a interactive way, we ask the user, hey, do you want to combine the centrifugal pump and the pump centrifugal into one classification? And do you want to make sure all those things combine and have a identical set of attributes? So here, after the, we call that the data refinement, we don't have 3 different classifications. They are all called centrifugal pumps. They can live in different subsystems, no matter your chill water pump, hot water pump, or any other subsystems is all using this classification. And this classification hosts exactly the same set of attributes. And this manufacturer in this classification will be the same manufacturer as it is in the other classification, like motor or HVAC systems. So this is what we do. We call that a semantic analysis. We capture your typos, your ambiguity, your different expression for same system. So like example here, centrifugal pump or pump centrifugal. Acronym missing is a very common mistake that you don't have any acronym assigned for one or some assets. And also one asset can be associated with multiple acronyms under different systems. You may call it PUMP here and call it PUP over there. One acronym associated with multiple assets, that's also very normal. For example, you have a S pump, SPUMP, is acronym, and it can be associated with like a some pump or some other pump starting with S. Okay. After that, we can do more, because when we're talking about create a data dictionary or make a data dictionary better, in the case if you already have your own data dictionary, you kind of work in silo. You don't know what other clients or other users in the same industry are using right now. So for example, centrifugal pumps, your local attributes have this set, but the key point is you don't know what you don't know. And ARID gives you this chance to, because ARID is a cloud-based platform, and it collects all the attributes or the data dictionaries of other clients in a very confidential way. So you are not going to see which client use which set of attributes. You're going to see, okay, the only thing you're going to see is their attributes name and how they use it. So for example here, on the right side of the screen shows 3 confidential client A and B and C. They have similar classification pump, but they have some other attributes you don't have. Client A has data in stored, public facing, replacement cost. Client C has public facing, and client B has the same 3 attributes. And A and C shares model numbers. So you can tell that some attributes you do not have currently in your data dictionary can be very popular in the outside world. So the first things ARID can do is to aggregate all those information together and give you a recommendation list. So this thing is there are 2 or 3 different algorithms behind of this to do the calculation. But the idea you got here is, so ARID help you to create a list of recommendations. So we can say, okay, public facing, that might be a very important attribute because I'm running a capital project or I'm running a airport, and some of my asset is actually public facing, some of them are not. So if I have this attribute in my system, then later on when I do my data analysis, I can tell the degradation model or the health condition and compare that for the same classification, one is facing public, one is not, and using these things to help you to become to help you do the decision making. And other than that, we have machine learning functionality behind this. If you're familiar with YouTube, you can either like or sum up or sum down of some videos you like, and the more people contribute their opinion into these attributes, the ranking of those videos will be resorted and show something more relevant to your taste. So here we can do the same things because everything has been put on the cloud, and even the machine learning functionality is a cloud computational base. So you can still like, you don't need to dislike. You can like somebody else, and each time you refresh your page or you go to try to dig something more, we're going to have the most realistic or related recommendation for you. Okay, so that's for the smart recommendation. Other things ARID can do. This is a big one called problem, cause, and the remedy. We call that PCR. Somebody called PFA. It's called the problem, failure, and A is for answer something. So PCR or PFA is a word. It's a terminology, or it's a separate database that associated with your classification, try to capture or to diagnose your failure. So here, for example, your pump has some problem. Can be cycling, can be fail to start, fail to stop, leaking, motor stop, noise. So all of these things has been captured in ARID. And if you're a facility operator, you can switch to different problems and select corresponding cores. So for example, if you're observing a model stopped, and you can choose the cores become if that is alignment issue, power supply failure, or a vibration, and you can pick up the corresponding remedy. So this will dramatically benefit to your daily operation and maintenance. And all of these things are compatible with Maximo. So you can do the easily export and import. I'm going to talk about this data utilization function in the following slides. The next things that ARID can do is one of our most critical functionality of ARID is because, as we mentioned, as Microdesk, we help our clients from both ends of the project, from the delivery stage and from the operational stage. So we try to make ARID in the central as a data center or a data foundation that help to fill the gap in between all the stages. If you're a BIM specialist or a BIM manager, you'll understand that during each milestone or during each data handoff, there will be information loss. And the most dramatic information loss happen will be you finish your construction, you have your SQL model, or you don't. But anyway, by the end of the construction, the information has been delivered to the owner and being delivered to the facility management division. And based on our past experiences, even we have a fancy SQL model like the ARID 500, even they modeled every buttons on the panels, we don't have any asset management related parameter got populated. So for example, if I'm a facility management guy, I don't care about how accurate your model is. I don't care if you have any buttons on your panels, but I do care if you have like a manufacturer, you have the data being stored, if that is a public facing, what is your serial number, that kind of information. So many times when we got the SQL model, nothing is in the model. We have a beautiful thing, but without soul. That's the way I want to express it. And later on, the owner will spend extra to send people to the on-site data collection again when the building has been occupied, and that will take like 50 or something more per asset. So ARID is here to solve the problem by giving the data to each of the stakeholders and make them to speak the same language. So for example, here ARID can talk to Maximo, talk to SAP. ARID can talk to Excel. If you're familiar with Excel and some of your employee doesn't want to work with the front end, with the web app, they can still work in Excel doing their daily workload without changing anything. And ARID can read back their Excel and still digest that and merge that into our cloud. And ARID, because it is a SQL database, can easily connect it with Tabular or Power BI to do the data analytics and the reporting with the fancy dashboard. And also ARID can talk with Revit. That's something we want to highlight because currently when we start to talking about the lifecycle BIM implementation, we're kind of talking about from design to construction to commissioning, and we leave facility management aside, but that's wrong. So because we have all those kind of classifications, attributes in the attributes is the terminology they use in Maximo and in SAP or in facility management world, but in design construction or in the Revit world, it's called the parameter. So we have all kind of these parameters, and that's all the information that facility management guys want. And that will help them to do the operation and maintenance for 20, 30 years. So that will be the most critical information that we're supposed to give to the design and construction guys, and they're supposed to have them collected, populated from stage to stage, and eventually carry through the data transition and give it back to the facility management guys. So ARID can split the attributes or parameters for specific clients and package them into different Revit family categories. If you're a BIM specialist, you're kind of familiar with this terminologies like air terminals, duct accessories, electrical equipment, fixtures. Those kind of things are default Revit family categories. You cannot change it. So each time if you want to create a shared parameters, you're going to dealing with this terminologies, right? So ARID will generate this kind of thing by in an automatic way, and give this to the Revit end in terms of different stage. So you're doing design, so there will be design stage package, and there will be construction stage package and the commissioning stage package. Depends on what kind of contract you are doing. You're doing design build, or EBOM. So the package can be tailored towards your need. So now, when the Revit people got this package, they use Dynamo or using other ways to load that things into project parameters. and now they're speaking the same language as the facility management guys. So when they do the data population, data collection, supposedly by the end of the project life cycles, when they do the model delivery, the facility management guy, they're supposed to have a model with all the data they need. But one more thing, how we can make sure that each of those stage or each of those milestones, when we do the submissions, we got what we want. So there's supposed to be a QA and QC sessions or compliance checker sessions. So we also have this ARID, we call that health tracking functionality. When you do the model submissions, you can kind of connect your model with ARID and do the model submission data health check. It can compare the parameter you have been imported, collected, or populated in your Revit model with the data dictionary that in your ARID account, and run this health check. So the total completion for this submission is 48%, and it can tell you your completion percentage by different category and by different attributes. And it will give you interpretations and the recommendation said, okay, hey, if you want to bump up your total completion for the next submission, you need to focus on the pipe accessory because you're missing 2,000 data points for this single category. And some other things you want to pay attention to because you're missing 2 or 3 parameters that those are required parameters. We have been highlighted in the data dictionary, but you do not have it in the Revit. So please take care of that. And this health check can dramatically smooth or streamline the data flow from Revit end to the facility management end. Okay, so now we have the model, and before we talk about the Revit model goes into the Maximo or the SEP, first we need to implement all the classification and attributes into your Maximo and SEP. So the things we have is here is we call that CMMS connectivity. ARID can generate a MX loader compatible sheets. If you're familiar with IBM Maximo implementation, I'm pretty sure you probably already used this MX loader before. So you can load like hundreds of thousands of classifications using a micro-enabled Excel spreadsheets. And all these contents of what classification is, the hierarchy, the parents, the attributes, their classification ID, their domain ID, domain value, unit of measures, all kinds of these things will be generated through ARID directly in the compatible format. So it can dramatically shrink the implementation duration from months to hours. On-site data collection, because we try to have every stakeholders talking the same language, but it's very hard, and that is what our industry is currently lacking of. So on-site data collection, you can use BIM 360 or using templates. For some confidential projects, they don't use BIM Cloud or the Autodesk Cloud functionality. So we have a export classification data collection template function here in the ARID. You can generate the data collection form or the template and send it over to the on-site data collectors, so they can start to do the data collection, exactly follow your data requirements. And once they finish that things, we can load it back and transfer that things into Maximo or SEP. So we have been talked a lot about what ARID can do. And now it's time to talk about how ARID can change asset management, facility management, or whom ARID can really help with. So when we're talking about a project lifecycle, we're talking about several things from several levels. The highest level is called the project development level. You have the planning, design, construction, commissioning, operation, and the maintenance. From the model development level, so here is an example of the design bid build, but you can things will be slightly changed if you have a design build or EBOM. But here I just want to use this as a generic example. You have the design model generated, and hand it off to be used as a reference and to generate a construction model. Or by the end of the construction, the owner will acquire a estimate model. Then if that thing needs to go into the operation stage, somebody needs to purge it and make it do some data massage to make that thing into a facility information model. And that thing will ideally become a digital twin. And that's a totally another fancy topic, not in the scope of this webinar. Then from the data development level, that is actually the backbone of this entire lifecycle. You have deliver stage data, and you have data refinement stage. In between, you try to transfer your data, your delivery data, into the operational data. So in order to make all this data smoothly streamlined from the beginning to the end, ARID can help with using ARID Streamliner. That's so ARID is basically a suite, and we have the ARID Streamliner. It's dealing with everything regarding the design and construction and commissioning stage, including export the SharePoint packages to the contractors or to the engineers, and also do the health check, QA and QC. And for the commissioning part, we have the ARID, the collectors that basically have a interactive way to tell you which parameter you're supposed to collect on site and follow the data, the facility data requirements. And for the entire operation stage, we have the ARID dictionary. So ARID dictionary is kind of the backbone or the data foundation of the entire asset management program implementation. The goal we try to reach here is a day one operation. So traditionally speaking, because the huge gap and huge information loss by the end of the construction and beginning of the operation and the maintenance, it usually takes like 18 months to start to gradually or manually input all the asset entries and their information, properties, attributes into Maximo or any CMMS. And this 18 months will be a blind spot and something will happen. And try to eliminate this situation from happening, we try to shift all the risk from the end of the life cycle to the beginning. So if everybody is speaking the same language and everybody is sitting on the round table at the beginning of the project, we can achieve like a day one operation. Every data can be smoothly transferred from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3. So in a more high-level diagram here is what ARID can really help. ARID can help the engineer or BIM manager or BIM specialist because it generates all the BIM SharePoint share parameter package, so they know what they need to populate. They don't need to guess. So like, okay, I think the facility management guy, they want to have the manufacturer or they want to have something here and there. They don't need to do that because we tell them, okay, this is 10 attributes we need. And why these things matter to design? Because some of those things are particularly easy to be collected during design. Because if you're the designer, you know, I'm designing a pump. I know this pump will serve for the fire protection purpose or for the hot water system or for the chilled water system. And we can just input that information into one of the parameters. It will be way more easier than you don't put everything there. And by the end of the project lifecycle, when the facility management guy, they received the model, they saw 10,000 pumps, and none of them has been being categorized into any system. And what they're going to do, they're going to maybe kind of eyeball it or ask some professional to give them recommendations, or even drag the designer side by side and figure out, okay, so this is the hot water pump, that is a chill water pump, and that is very time consuming. And also data management, data analysts, they are going to be very happy to see that because now they can directly talking with ARID or directly talking with a SQL database, so they can do whatever data analytics, data reporting, make a dashboard as fancy as they want. Data collectors will be happy because they it's still for some of our clients because they use Excel and they use even paper binders. So they're changing their asset management data dictionary from time to time, but it's very hard for them to make those spreadsheets and their latest data requirement reach every subcontractors. And from here, ARID can provide an API, and all they need to do is open the web app, and they have the latest data requirements. They follow the instructions, so fill this 10 fields, then click next, and eventually there's like a very minimum chance they can mess it up. Maximal implementer, they're going to be happy because if it costs them weeks or months, if you're facing a huge amount of maximal implementation by using our ARID maximal compatible function. We already have it happen in some of our government agency clients, and it takes them like 1 to 2 hours to finish the job. They used to take them like a couple of days or weeks. Because when you're dealing with Excel sheets, and things can be really, really, really fuzzy. Facility management we enjoy because now they have they can enjoy all the functionality of ARID, including their data repositories, the thematic analysis, the smart recommendations if they want to do something new or they want to compare there with their neighbors. All kind of these things will be benefit for the facility operator or facility manager. So here you can tell that this is an entire life cycle of our AECO. You from the designing to the construction to the data collection to the data transition to the operation and the maintenance, and all of these gaps we try to make ARID help to fill the gap in between all of this. So here I'm going to have a case study. This case study is for a government agency. It's one of the largest multi-sector transportation agency in our country. They're currently in enterprise EAM program. So basically merge all of their existing system facility. Each facility of them has their own system in silo and merge that things into their EAM program. In order to do that, the first thing they are going to create a ADS. They call that asset data specification. That's the name of their data dictionary. So they don't want to use any of the existing kind of coding system on the market like a Uniformat or Omniformat because they're too huge. They have not only buildings but also bridges, tunnels, stations. So some of those things are not even properly categorized by Uniformat or Omniformat. So they decide to start from scratch. So they start to incorporate ARID as their data dictionary development tool and help them to host all the data dictionary. So I just want to highlight the results is they were facing a very severe project delay issue, and ARID helped them to save like 1 year and around $1 million. And they solved their problem in like I think it's like 1 month or 2 months. Yes. So I'm going to show you the detail about this case study. So they have a lot of legacy systems. So for example, traffic, like aviation, or PAS or port and TBNT, they all have their own system, and their system has their own hierarchies. Some of them are very top-down vertical. Some of them are very flat. No parents, no child relationship at all. And the goal is to make all of them into a holistic or integrated EAM system that can do in the data analytics or the reporting or any kind of thing from a holistic approach. So what ARID does is ARID create a adaptive working environment for them to work with. They can do it through their iPads, through their phones, through their computers, and ARID engage the stakeholders in the development of the asset registry database. That's the first thing. Then also, ARID help them to develop the ADS in-house. and also can send it out to the different data collectors or different consultants, help them to develop their ADS, and they are working in the same environment that kind of encourage the teamwork. And ARID help them to handle all the governance approval for the standards or their classification voting sessions, and create historical record for all of these documents and for the future references. And also, ARID is establish different work groups for staff across the agency. So you are the admin, you're the user, you're visitors. They all have different security level and can do different type of tasks. So some of them can start to do the uploads, some of them can do the downloads, start to do the editing, and some of them from the management level can track the schedule of the entire project development. So now we're 15% down for this entire ADS development, and where is our weakness, where is our critical path. So in order to create the work package for different consultants and their employees. So that's kind of the presentation and the webinar talking about why we need ARID and what ARID can do and what ARID can help. If you have any questions, I think it's time to ask. Let me see. So I think there's a right hand or question function here. If you have any question, just type in there and I can see it here.